District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter. My name is Chris Chichester. This is a document that arrived in your office today. Registered mail return receipt. It's dated February 16th. Todd Baxter, Sheriff, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14604. Sandra Doorley, District Attorney, 47 South 5th Street, Rochester, New York, 14604. Read the attached PDF, that is Freedom of Information Law. Comply with the attached PDF, that is the Freedom of Information Law. Disclose the names of my prosecutor's silence. Resign. YouTube Sheriff Todd Baxter, $16,000 pay raise freak, $83,291.42, Shannon M. Meyer. And I have a YouTube here. It says Ansel O'Reilly. Here's my name, 620 Park Avenue, PNB, number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. So this document that I'm holding up, it's about 50 pages. This is the receipt. The green cards are going to come back to me. District Attorney Sandra Doorley, 47 South Fisher Street. Sheriff Todd Baxter, 130 South Plymouth Avenue. Lisa Gray, Mount County District Attorney's Office to Counsel. Lisa Gray, eject yourself from corruption, fanaticism, and hatred. What are the names of my prosecutors assigned to every single one of my court appearances? I contacted you directly, and I didn't hear anything from you. I will never know if you watch me on YouTube. I'll never know if you read what I'm sending. This arrived today. This should have been placed on your desk or handed to you or been in a mailbox for you, Lisa Gray. So Lisa Gray, what are the names of the prosecutors assigned to every single one of the fiction and lies that forces me into a court? Penn-Town Court for John P. Lomenzo Jr., Penn-Town Court for Paul C. Meltzer, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. And which one of you psychopaths, District Attorney's Office, made the decision to elevate me to Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court? Michelle Crowley, District Attorney's Office? Michelle Crowley, why didn't you call me to the grand jury that indicted me when Michael Houlihan of the Sheriff's Office testified and claimed I swung a hammer at him on my back porch? Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I contacted you previously in writing and on YouTube. Michael Houlihan's a perjurer. And I hope to include a link on YouTube where I say that $73,000 Michael Houlihan's a perjurer. This is where he perjures himself. When Michael Houlihan and $85,000 Don Benedetto come running at me in the middle of the dark of midnight 2 years ago, I turn around and run away. I never stop running. I get to the back porch. I grab a hammer I used to fix my bike. Michael Houlihan grabs my arm. The hammer goes up. I pull away. I run through the sliding glass door. And on the body camera footage of Michael Houlihan, I am heard saying, "Fuck you." I never stopped running. When Michael Houlihan, in the grand jury convened by you, Michelle Crowley, states or uses language that I swung a hammer at him, that's when Michael Houlihan commits the crime of perjury. There better be a transcript for this grand jury of 18 to 24 idiots that you know are idiots. You want to be idiots, Michelle Crowley indicts me. Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court, Duke of New York A#1 is going to get this, and I'm confident he'll be in a rage. He's easily enraged. That's why I'm in jail without a prosecutor not talking in court before him. Who made the decision to send me into this $208,000 fossil? Lisa Preston, New York State Supreme Court, who is an employee. I believe it could be his clerk. I don't know what her title is. So if this fossil, Alex Renzi's lost and confused and doesn't know what's going on, Lisa Preston can give him what I sent to him. Well, I'm demanding a list of his defendants. James Finley Jr. in Penn-Town Court, you freed this violent Doug Jermaine Bem. I'm going to tell the House Judiciary Committee and Senate Judiciary Committee about how you love violence, James Finley Jr. Trinity Ross, the United States Attorney, the Western District of New York, is the only name I care about. Paul C. Meltzer in Penn-Town Court, again, you acquired my health care records because Sheriff Todd Baxter gave you my health care records. Health Insurance Privacy Protection Act of 1996, or the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. I'm not quite sure of the exact title. It's called HIPAA, and you attorneys at the District Attorney's Office know exactly what I'm talking about. HIPAA is passed by my former employers, the United States Senate, United States House of Representatives, to properly protect health insurance. And there's Paul C. Metzer sitting in little one-room Penn-Town Court with my health care insurance records right in front of her because Todd Baxter gave them to her. I'm not going to state why, but I will be. I'm going to state why when I contact the Department of Justice, State Department of Health, and the Federal Department of Human Services. I'm going to be back on here. I'm going to be reading documentation I sent to these institutions about what happened to me. I'm not going to state it now because it's humiliation upon my life. But I'll state it in writing when I read it here. Paul C. Metzer, you had my healthcare records right in front of you, and you violated my privacy because you're corrupt. Regina Harper, the Monroe County Public Defender. Regina, quote, the prosecutor's not backing down. That's what you said to me, and I've asked you now repeatedly, what's the name of the prosecutor? And it's insane for you, Regina, to refuse to disclose the name that you know. You know who the prosecutor is that's not backing down. You know the names of all these psychopaths in the district attorney's office. You and Mark don't know, and you're refusing to tell me. Mark, you getting this too? Mark, what are the names of my prosecutors? Contact me. 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York. 14604. Janet McNair, the director of the Office of Public Integrity, former employee of the Sheriff's Office, who's also sending my mail back to me. So when I say to sending my mail back to me, here's a Jansen McNair refused to open his mail because Jansen McNair, former employee of the Sheriff's Office, doesn't care that Sheriff's Office employees are violently attacking me and I'm being delivered to jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court. Silence of violence has destroyed my life. So here he is again, Jansen McNair. At I think this has about 150 documents in it here. Jansen McNair again. And here you are, Mark. What do you think I'm asking you in here? I ask you and Regina, because I once had respect for you, the names of my prosecutors. I demand that Sandra Doorley and Todd Baxter names of my prosecutors. That's what I'm telling you in here. And I'm going to be arrested again for what I'm doing right now, because they're psychopaths at the Sheriff's Office, the Chief Attorney's Office. Here you are again, Mark. Here you are, Regina. What are the names of my prosecutors? Again, Regina. How am I in jail, Regina, when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? If that happened to you, Regina, and you weren't out of jail in one day, instead of 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, you would easily conclude your civil and constitutional rights were violated. Regina Marcus should have been out of jail on day one. Prosecutor talk court, citizens should be released. It's that simple. So I'll soon contact Kristen Clark, the United States Department of Justice, about what's happened to me. This is Ms. Clark, a distinguished American citizen and a New Yorker. So, Kristen Clark, from her biography, Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark. This is the Department of Justice website. Kristen Clark is Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the United States Department of Justice. In this role, she leads the Justice Department's broad civil rights enforcement efforts and works to uphold the civil and constitutional rights of all who live in America. Assistant Attorney General Clark is a lifelong civil rights lawyer who has spent her entire career in public service. Assistant Attorney General Clark began her career as a trial attorney in the Civil Rights Division through the Department of Justice Honors Program. In 2006, she helped join the NAAC Legal Defense Fund, where she helped lead the organization's work in the areas of voting rights and election law across the country. Ms. Clark worked on cases defending the constitutionality of the Voting Rights Act, and it goes on to describe her distinguished career. And then it says in 2011, she was named the head of the Civil Rights Bureau for the New York State Attorney General's Office, where she led broad civil rights enforcement acts. So that's why I say she's a New Yorker. So Ms. Clark, this distinguished New Yorker at the Department of Justice, I hope and I do believe she will conclude that you have smashed me into a million little pieces where I'm in jail 6 times. 6 times the prosecutor doesn't talk to court. And you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, refuses to close the names of these psychopaths that are doing this to me. And you, Perry Duckles, and the link that's included with this one here, this YouTube, I'm again telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors. How am I in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk to court? I'd like to know what Ms. Clark thinks about that insane leveling of who I am as a human being. So this is going to arrive where it says, disclose the names of my prosecutor silence. This pay raise freak to shatter my writing on warrant for my arrest for parking lot of walkthrough 4,000 times. So that's on there. And also included in this document, that's the cover letter. Here's all your emails here. You use Proton Mail because I can have unlimited recipients. And here it is here. Here you all are here. And you're on here, Perry Duckles. Well, I'm telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors. Sheriff Todd Baxter, $16,000 pay raise freak, $83,000 Shannon and Maya. You're right here. Doesn't matter to you. She writes a warrant for my arrest for parking lot. I've walked through 4,000 times, and that's insane. This is February 14th. Zealots, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter, Judge Alex Renzi, misconduct on Chief of Grand Jury Bureau, Michelle Crowley. Did you watch that, Michelle Crowley? You copied on here. Why do you think I called it misconduct? I'm indicted, and you don't know anything. I'm indicted, and you don't call me to the grand jury. I'm indicted. You don't even interview me about anything that's happened to me. You should be fired immediately and disbarred. I will pursue your disbarment. Attorney Grievance Committee. Fleece Sheriff Todd Baxter sends $155,000 Corey Brown, $163,000 Michael Fowler, Saratoga. Corey Brown is paid $23,000 more than Todd Baxter, and Michael Fowler is paid $31,000 more than Todd Baxter. Are you confused why I say Todd Baxter's corrupt? That's outrageous for his employees to be paid that amount of money and that much more than the duly elected sheriff of Monroe County. And you're against the cover letter for you, Michelle Crowley, on misconduct. This is February 10th, effective District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter, Alex Renzi. I'm showing this because it arrived. You have this. Everything I'm pointing to, you have. Silence of violence, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter, Judge Alex Renzi. The silence of the District Attorney's office depositing me in jail, and the violence of the Sheriff's office being exacted upon me because I'm being violently attacked by sworn officers of law with a badge and holstered weapon that are common thugs and criminals. This is a letter here to Robert J. Valenti, United States Department of Veterans Affairs that I read. I'm not going to read that again. Robert's helping me move, so I need to move back to Albany to avoid incarceration for the seventh time as an innocent man. This is the blue wall silence. You were the most ridiculous cop cliche there is. Todd Baxter sent from my Proton mail account, Chichester Christopher 98 at proton.me on February 6th. And if you watch me on here, where it's blue wall silence information and District Attorney Sandra and Todd Baxter, your thought is, how do we arrest him and how do we concoct a crime for him? How do we place him in front of one corrupt judge and deposit him in jail where he's not told how long he's going to be in jail? Because you're psychopaths. And here's again information. You just arrived in your office on February 5th. The information I'm demanding. The reason why it's called information. Language requires precision. It's called information, as the information I'm demanding here and now are the names of my prosecutors of silence. What are their names? Perry Duckles. I'll say to you what I said to you on the links attached to you, for you, pardon me. Where today again, I'm demanding you disclose the names of my prosecutors. If you were in jail, Perry Duckles, you would immediately want to know who's doing this to you. Do the lives of others matter? The answer is no. Here it is on information. That's the cover letter. Here's all your emails up here. Chichester Christopher 4 proton.me. I changed the email. I only use it once. Comply with the attached Freedom of Information Law documents. Mail the names of prosecutors assigned to my court appearance. The address listed below in Rochester, New York. It's February 5th, 2 weeks ago. So Regina Harbor and Mark Phillips, I'll never know if you watched that, but I'm telling you, what do you think I'm telling you in this YouTube? To disclose the names of my prosecutors. That's what I'm telling you to do, Mark and Regina. So mail the names of my prosecutors assigned to my court appearance. The address listed below in Rochester, New York. This is February 4th. February 2nd, again, Psychopaths Incorporated, because that's the cover letter. Here's Lisa Gray to counsel. This is on February 1st. This is why you're corrupt at the District Attorney's Office. This is why you're corrupt, Lisa Gray. L. Gray at MonroeCounty.gov. This is also copied too. E. Buckley at MonroeCounty.gov. M. O'Brien at MonroeCounty.gov. M. Schwartz at MonroeCounty.gov. M. Crowley at MonroeCounty.gov. M. Monahan, MonroeCounty.gov. M. Beezer, MonroeCounty.gov. C. Bulkelman, MonroeCounty.gov. R. Catalano, MonroeCounty.gov. J. High at MonroeCounty.gov. P. Gallagher at MonroeCounty.gov. S. Miles, MonroeCounty.gov. M. Robertson, MonroeCounty.gov. That, I believe, is every assistant district attorney. And right here, I say to you, Lisa Gray, L. Gray at MonroeCounty.gov, for Perry Duckles at Monroe County District Attorney's Office. So I'm telling Perry Duckles to tell me the names of my prosecutors. I tell you, Lisa Gray, that Michael Houlihan's a perjurer, lying about how I swung a hammer in my back porch at Penfield, and violence. Sheriff Todd Baxter and $75,000 Richard J. Seaman who violently attacked me at the Penfield Public Library. Silence of violence. Did you watch it, Lisa Gray? Lisa Gray, what are the names of my prosecutors? Contact me, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. Chief of the Local Courts Bureau, Elizabeth Buckley. Have you been into this disgusting room, Penfield Town Court, Elizabeth Buckley? Redirect defendants away from James C. Mully Jr. and Paul C. Metro. Not that you care about justice, because that's irrelevant. You can avoid a public relations nightmare with innocent citizens in jail when prosecutors don't talk in court. And that's what Penfield Town Court does. Where you're forcing citizens in there, and you know you don't have to talk. Paul C. Metzer knows you don't have to talk. James C. Mully Jr. knows you don't have to talk. John P. Lomenzo Jr. before Paul C. Metzer knows you don't have to talk to the district attorney's office for a defendant to be delivered to jail, and that's insane. Redirect defendants away from insane Penfield Town Court. Perhaps you noticed in the most famous trial of the 20th century that Marsha Clark and Christopher Darden and Johnny Cochran were talking in court before Lancito. Prosecutors talk in court and make an argument against the accused. In the most famous murder trial of the 20th century, down to some idiot purse snatcher in Omaha, Nebraska. Prosecutors will talk and make an argument. A prosecutor has never talked in court for me. So how am I in jail once when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court for me? And I've been in jail 6 times when this is befalling me. And one of you psychopaths is doing this to me right here. Who is it? District Attorney Sandra Doorley. So, January 26th, all the links to your fanaticism, perjury, violence, rejection, accountability, have this. I'm going to make a disc where I can send you the hard disk. I'll back up everything I'm doing on YouTube. And if you think I'm talking to you on YouTube, I'm never talking to you on my usernames. I always talk to the United States Department of Justice. January 26th, this is attached in PDF. Comply with the attached PDF dated January 26th. That is 73 Freedom of Information Law documents that arrived at your office too, and you refused. And then January 24th, I've said this previously, the perfect 2-word description for you, Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, right here. A 2-word sentence that accurately describes you. You're freaks. You're freaks because you're sworn officer of the law, Todd Baxter, attacking me. They're common thugs and criminals. I'll be delivered to jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk to court. Total silence. I'll be in jail for the 7th time because you're easily enraged at Jonestown. That's the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office. All it takes is one of you nauseating, sick, disgusting, corrupt hacks at the district attorney's office, concoct fiction for me, right? An arrest warrant, and then I'll be stalked somewhere in Rochester by Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicles. You arrest me right there on the sidewalk on the street, either when I'm running or riding my bike, however you want to do it. You present me in front of the corrupt judge, like Paul C. Metz, John P. Lenzi Jr., Alex Renzi, and there I am in jail, and I won't be told how long I'm being in jail. Now what happens, I'll come back here to YouTube and say, that's exactly how I described it. It's going to destroy me again. So here you have January 18th, rejection accountability. That's the cover letter for that. And January 18th again, unethical. So my phone goes off sometimes. I don't know why. This is surveillance device here, Todd Baxter. This photographs why you're a fanatic. This photographs why you're an extremist. This photographs why you're a liar. This photographs why I know the name of your $67,000 disgusting hack Shannon Marr. This photograph is why people hate the police. I showed the cover photograph. This is the black and white. I was on it over and over. It's that private technology. You buy it and fix it for me. This is me telling Jansen McNair of the Office of Public Integrity that he has no integrity. Corrupt Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, Alex Renzi. You got that link. The cover letter for both on January 12th, over a month ago. I'm again telling you to disclose names on prosecutor's silence. January 10th, comply with the attached PDF dated January 10th, 2023. There's 72 Freedom of Information Law documents. This includes identification on prosecutor's silence. You refused over a month ago. Here it is in January 10th. That's the cover letter. This is the emails here. These are all your emails up here. I say the same thing in the email that I do on the cover letter. January 5th, the same thing. Your email's a Proton mail account. Apply with attached PDF dated January 5th, 2023. That is 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive at your offices via United Postal Service small mail. The information I demand. The address below in Rochester. This includes the names of my prosecutor's silence. December 26th. This is your office today. Everything I'm pointing to and talking about here, lawless, right here, December 26th. You receive 24 to 48 hours via United Postal Service 67 Freedom of Information Law documents dated December 26th, 2022. This documentation was also mailed via UPS to your offices on December 22nd. The full is attached with PDF. So December 22nd again, 67 Freedom of Information Law documents. And I'll conclude with Perry Duckles. I've read this previously. I won't do this again. Just read the first paragraph. Attached in PDF is a 61-page Freedom of Information Law document dated December 2022 that arrived in your office via UPS. This documentation also arrived December 22nd, 2022, December 26th, 2022. I've demanded names on prosecutor's silence for 18 months. So, I have defiance here. This is December 18th again. So, it's a different date, December 18th. Yes, November 28th. There are 3 links here. Corruption, delusion, and denial, 0. 0 because you're not comply with any documentation there. So, over and over, as I've just read to you, this is in your office. You have this. The reason why you have this, because the green card is going to come back to me. And this is the certified mail return receipt. This is stamped here, February 16th. That's why this says February 16th. So today is February 17th. So in your office, district attorney's office, I'm demanding disclosure on names for our prosecutor's silence. Sandra Doorley, Todd Baxter, Lisa Gray, Michelle Crowley, Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court, Lisa Preston in New York State Supreme Court, James Family Jr. in Penfield Court, Trinity Ross, the United States Attorney for Western District of New York, who is in Buffalo, Paul C. Metzer in Penfield Court, Eugenia Harper, Mark Phillips, Janice McNair. So I'm communicating with you to tell you that you're corrupt. That's a perfect word to describe you. So Todd Baxter, leaving my residence one day, 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield, and this woman, Nancy Dooley from this Business Consumer Insights, would constantly stare at me and my dog as I'm walking my dog, and I thought it was bizarre. And she did this 5 or 6 times, and I ignored her. So one day, I'm walking my little guy, Shih Tzu I adopted from Lollipop Farm Humane Society, and there she is again, staring at me. She doesn't drive away. There's something wrong with this Nancy Dooley. So I say to her, she's sitting in her car looking at me as I'm standing on my front lawn with my dog. What the fuck you looking at? Fuck you. And Nancy Dooley drives away. A short time later, I have the Monroe County Sheriff's Office at my residence. I open the door, walk to the center of my living room. One of your cretins, Todd Baxter, is about 12 inches from my nose, and he screams at me, "What did you say to the woman in the car?" And then I reply, "What the fuck are you looking at? Fuck you." And then your employee, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, says to me, "Don't swear at me." Are you confused why I say that you're a psychopath? You employ psychopaths, Todd Baxter? Your fellow psychopaths are coming to my residence to tell me how to talk, you Benito Mussolini skinhead? So don't be confused when I call you a Benito Mussolini skinhead about your employees coming to my residence to tell me how to talk. And that's the lunatic fringe, Todd Baxter. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I've said this to you previously, and the reason why I mention this again is I'm going to tell you how I've said this to you previously, Todd Baxter, because that's the lunatic fringe to come to the home of an innocent citizen and tell that innocent citizen how to talk, Todd Baxter. Do you know what I'm talking about? And what's his name? So when there's real crime and violence in Rochester, New York, on the streets of New York, on the streets of Rochester, New York, here's your employee coming to my residence to tell me how to talk, Todd Baxter. And what do you think about what I'm saying to you? Because that's the sick lunatic fringe. And you are the sick lunatic fringe, you'll never know it, coming to my house to tell me how to talk. And what I'm looking for here is how I previously told you, Todd Baxter, that you're the sick lunatic fringe and coming to my residence to tell me how to talk. So, Todd Baxter, is sexual harassment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? District Attorney Sandra Doorley, is there sexual harassment at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office? What's the answer? Why are you refusing to answer about sexual harassment? Because it's a simple question to respond to, and you're refusing over and over and over to tell me what the answer is. And I demand to know from you that answer. Do you know what sexual harassment is? So answer me and tell me what the answer is. So I'm looking for this TikTok here, as I may have to move on because I cannot find it. And this is where my preparation is lacking. But you, Todd Baxter, came to my residence to tell me how to talk, and that's what I want to play for you, because I will repeat myself, and I repeat myself because you're a fanatic, and you're a sociopath, and you're a degenerate. And a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee that comes to the home of an innocent citizen and tells that citizen how to talk is a fanatic, a degenerate, and a sociopath. And what are your employees doing when there's real violence in Monroe County, coming to my residence to tell me how to talk, because that's really the sick lunatic fringe of Benito Mussolini skinhead. And I can't seem to find that, but I'll play that later on this YouTube. And why are you refusing to tell me the names of my prosecutors? Because that's the lunatic fringe. The lunatic fringe, a warrant for my arrest for walking through a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. That's it right there. So I'm going to continue to fill this out. This is the receipt that comes back. This is the receipt. This is the green card that comes back to me. Todd Baxter, I've been telling you to write me a check for $61.39. You know why? I went to the Penfield Public Library and I had $61.39 in my pocket. And into the library walks Richard J. Seatman. So Todd Baxter, I've said to you previously, and I'm demanding answers from you. What is Richard J. Seatman and his fellow sociopath at the sheriff's office doing coming in to Penfield Public Library? I stand up at the computer terminal. Richard J. Seatman runs at me, slams his arm into the side of my head. I fell backwards, and my head hit the ceramic tile of the library floor. And Seaman's partner kicked me when I was down on the floor. They picked me up, took me down the hallway to Penfield Town Court. And what do you think about violence being perpetuated on me or exacted upon me? Pardon me. What do you think about Richard J. Seatman attacking me? What do you think about Lee LaRoque being in my residence with a document that's not a search warrant?
My name is Chris Chichester. You know my name. You're my former landlord at 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield, New York. What did $91,000 Lee LaRoque at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office say to you when she contacted you to demand entry into 26 Sanders Farm Drive when I'm not at the residence? What documentation were you provided by $91,000 Lee LaRoque or $28,000 Paul C. Metzler on Penfield Town Court? What's the probable cause? As it was explained to you by Lee LaRoque or Paul C. Metzler or both, to be inside 26 Sanders Farm Drive with a search warrant, because it's not a search warrant. The document I had possession of, which I no longer have possession of, which I would demand, is not a search warrant. There's no affidavit, there's no seal, there's nothing. Paula C. Metzler typed this piece of paper in Penfield Town Court after Lee LaRoque contacted her, and these two extremists decided to call you, and then you let LaRoque in, where she went upstairs and took my Chromebook from the wooden crate that it's on. Did you see $91,000 Lee LaRoque, to multiple sclerosis insurance salesman psychopath Giuseppe Spano, take possession of my Chromebook inside 26 Sanders Farm Drive? Were you inside 26 Sanders Farm Drive? You had to. Was your idiot father, Antonino, inside 26 Sanders Farm Drive? What's the answer to these questions, Giuseppe Spano? So I'm going to restate this again for your brain that's been obliterated by multiple sclerosis. What's the probable cause to be inside 26 Sanders Farm Drive for Lee LaRoque? Was Lee LaRoque the only Monroe County Sheriff Office employee inside 26 Sanders Farm Drive? What was said to you when you were contacted by either LaRoque or Metzler or both, or some other Sheriff Office employee? Giuseppe Spano, how many Monroe County Sheriff Office employees were inside 26 Sanders Farm Drive? What are the answers to these questions? This is what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice employees. This is what I'm going to tell the United States Attorney for the Western District of New York, Trinity E. Ross, what's happened to me. What are the answers to these questions, Giuseppe Spano? Do you understand, Giuseppe Spano? I have civil and constitutional rights, and they've been obliterated because of you and $91,000 fat girl and $28,000 Paul C. Metzler. Two people decide to get into a residence? That's how easy it is to smash someone's life into a million little pieces. You're responsible for doing that to me, multiple sclerosis psychopath Giuseppe Spano.
Where's my Chromebook, Lee LaRoque? What's the probable cause, Paul C. Metzler, for you to empower Lee LaRoque to enter my residence? What is it? You tell me. It'll be another lie. It'll be another piece of fiction. It'll be the fantasy land of your head, you bald-headed widow. So I've said this on this app and in writing. And I've said it here on YouTube. This is multiple times I'm saying this. About you, Paul C. Metzler, writing a, quote, search warrant, end quote, handing it to Lee LaRoque. She calls my landlord, Giuseppe Spano, and you get into my residence. Now, Giuseppe Spano's dead, 47 years old. I did not know he was dead when I made that TikTok. I hope hell's 5,000 degrees for him. So I do not know the facts and circumstances of you, 40-plus pounds overweight fat girl, $97,000 Lee LaRoque, getting into my residence because you got a $6,000 raise. Two people decide to get into a residence. That's what I said on that app. That's insane. So, one, Paul C. Metzler, what's the probable cause? Two, Lee LaRoque, where's my Chromebook? You're reading the emails and examining the hard drive in the Chromebook at the sheriff's office. That's insane. That's lunatic fringe. So, my legal eviction, I had to contact Social Security to get a Social Security card. This is because of you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, you, Paul C. Metzler, you, James Friendly Jr., and that I lost everything. So I got a new Social Security card because of you. This is why fanatics, this is why degenerates, this is why you're sociopaths. In jail without a prosecutor talking court 6 times. I'm being violently attacked by Sheriff Office employees, by Richard J. Sieben, where I have $61.39 in my pocket. I got Lee LaRoque and Paul C. Metzler deciding to get into my residence with no probable cause, where they're taking my property, my Chromebook out of my residence. You have violated my civil and constitutional rights with a hatred and incompetence, a fanaticism I never thought I'd experience in my life. You do not know you're corrupt, Sheriff Todd Baxter. You do not know you're corrupt, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Elliot Spitzer, to this day, 15 years now since he resigned in disgrace in 2008, does not know he's corrupt. Because 5 years later, he ran for New York City Controller and lost. You will never know you're corrupt, Todd Baxter. You will never know you're corrupt, Sandra Doorley. Even if Attorney General Merrick Garland explained to you in a 10,000-word memo why you're corrupt, you will never know you're corrupt. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have never committed a crime.